Hello, everyone. Oh, Lord. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing good. Hello, hello, and happy Thursday. Come on in the room, get comfortable, get settled. First happy hour of April. I'm really, really excited. Um, and this happy hour is going to be a little different than what I typically do. Well, not very different. But I'll explain once we get started. Everybody come on in the room, get comfortable. Hello, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Um, as you come into the room, say hello so that I can say hello back to you. If you've been here before, don't forget to hit those scale emojis. That's how I know. Let me turn Babyface off. Hold on. Oh, Lord. Kenneth. He's like, you're not going to turn me off. I'm going to keep singing. Hey, Adelaida. Good to see you. So welcome to Happy Hour. If you are new here, if this is your first time joining us either live or in the replay, Happy Hour is a reading that I do every other Thursday. Sometimes I'll do it on Fridays, but typically it's on Thursdays, where we come together, we talk about pop culture, and kind of look into a little bit of, it's not only our opportunity to gossip and be nosy, but we look at what's going on in the zeitgeist and pop culture, and see what we can learn from what other people are going through, okay? And when I said that it's going to be a little different today, y'all know Easter is on Sunday and that tomorrow is Good Friday. And even though Vodou is my religion, I got my spiritual education and start in the Hoodoo tradition. I was raised Baptist, and I still have a strong relationship with Jesus. I know a lot of Christians out there will shake their heads and roll their eyes when I say that, but Jesus loves me. And so a lot of my work is rooted in Christianity, and my relationship to Easter has shifted tremendously in my spiritual journey. I actually have a stronger relationship and a more deeper understanding of Easter as a holiday than I did when I was a Christian, right? It was when I was a Christian that I thought it was all about bunnies and, the cross and all that. But now that I understand it as an opportunity for renewal, that word's been fucking me up all day. An opportunity for renewal, right? An opportunity for resurrection. A time where we get to really ask ourselves, what is no longer serving us and what do we need to release? What do we need to let die within us, within our environment, so that we can have rebirth and control over the remainder of the year for ourselves, right? That's what Easter is for us as human beings living through the world, having a human experience. I have a deep relationship with Easter now. I love it as a holiday. And in fact, it's it's becoming one of my favorite holidays. When I was younger, second oldest of 10 kids, and responsible for hiding eggs and shit, I resented Easter. but now I love it. Mambo, what does that have to do with Happy Hour? Well, I want us to talk about 3 things in pop culture that have a lot to do with revelation. Things that were exposed, things that were revealed through these particular stories. And why I think the areas of revelation that come up through these individuals and through these stories is important, and what do they mean for us as a culture, as well as what we're going to understand and have to encounter throughout the rest of the year and as we move forward, right? So we'll start with Druski, then we'll get into Brandy, and then we'll wrap up with the Noems. Hey, Aja. Thank you so much for joining. It's good to see you. So Nicola said hi. Aja has said hi. Adelaida has said hi. But there are 6 people in the room. So there are 3 other people that, should say hi. Hey, Tiffany. 2 other people that should say hi. Oh, a couple more came in the room. Say hello as you come in so that I know who's here, so that I know who's present. I know who I'm engaged with. Hi, Aisha. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And then always, whether I'm doing happy hour, whether I'm doing the weekly energy reading, whether I'm doing, well, the weekly energy readings, we just do general readings. I don't have specialty readings, but I do have a specialty reading for people who want it tonight. It's called the Unveiling Reading, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Hey, Tashana, good to see you. But first, let's talk a little bit. Actually, I just sat there and talked about Revelation, and then I didn't even read the notes. I do this all the time. I get to talking, and then I don't even look at my notes. But yeah, so there's a lot going on in terms of public exposure right now. A lot of things, and some of it is like open secrets, right? Some of it is stuff that we already knew. But when we think about this energy of Good Friday, which tomorrow is Good Friday, a lot of the truths that are being revealed right now are things that people are not ready for folks to see, right? They're not ready to confront themselves. They're not ready for other people to see it within them, right? And there's a cost that comes with truth telling, right? Sometimes when we are seen in a way where we feel like we lose something, whether it's status, identity, whatever, that can be really, really painful. But we can't really have revelation. We can't really move forward, right? We can't have our breakthrough if we are trying to stay hidden behind our secrets, right? So sitting in the silence and the confusion of the revelation, and even if it's not revelation in our own lives, which is why I want to talk about Brandy, right? I think that what Brandy talks about with what she went through with Wanye is really important because niggas knew that Wanye was fucking that little girl. And instead of us holding that grown ass man accountable, we blame Brandy, right? And I think that there's something about where we were as a culture in the 90s going into the early 2000s that made us think that that's appropriate, right? So who were we in the context of our past? Who do we get to be now? What does looking at our past mean for us in terms of moving forward in revelation, right? So there's a collective processing that has to happen when exposure is taking place. But again, thinking about the theme of Easter and resurrection, even though it's uncomfortable, the truth gets to rise to the surface. And the truth is always a blessing. The truth is ugly, yes, but it's also a blessing, right? And there's redemption and an opportunity for reinvention once we face the truth, right? So again, I want to start with talking about Druski because of the three people that I wrote about in the title. I think that he is the easiest to talk about because the Druski skits are funny, right? White people are really angry about what Druski's comedy highlights about them, right? The mirror that he is holding up to people through whiteness and the things that he is forcing them to see about themselves makes them really, really, really fucking upset, right? And we know that this all started a few months ago when he did that NASCAR skit, right? And the thing that was hilarious to me about the NASCAR skit is that the way that people were interacting with him, they had no idea that that was a black man in whiteface. I don't believe whiteface is a thing, but I'm going to use that language tonight just because our culture has decided it's a thing for some reason, right? Which I find strange. But that's what made it so brilliant. It was so brilliant. I should have talked about Afro Man. Actually, even though I don't have him in the title, we are going to talk about Afro Man because I love everything that he's been able to do with this. He made back his $400 and then some. Afro Man was really, really smart for that. But again, let's talk about Druski, right? Him doing these skits and people not even realizing that he was in whiteface or he was wearing makeup is hilarious to me. Because the things that white people and people who want to be white when they grow up reveal when they think that they are in the space of company is always going to be fascinating, right? And so he got some really interesting reactions out of people. The Erica Kirk skit, hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Him and the organic pup cup, absolutely hilarious. But a lot of the things he said when he was dressed up as her, she said them herself. So I think it's interesting. Why are you upset that he's repeating your words? She said that about protecting white men in this country, right? You don't need to be ashamed to be a man, a white male man. Well, redundant, but okay. So are you upset that he is repeating your words? Or are you upset that it's holding a mirror up to you, right? I think a lot of times white people and the people who want to be white when they grow up don't like to be held accountable for the things that they do and they say, right? So even going back to the NASCAR skit, I think there's a narrative that racism is over and that, people don't act a certain way. So to have him in whiteface going around calling young black men boy exposes that is a thing that happens, right? Have people seen the picture of Druski with his grandfather? How many people here have seen the picture of Druski with his grandfather? Because his grandfather brings another element into the conversation that I think is fascinating, right? Remember, he's mixed. He can't be in whiteface. You beat me to it, Nero. Yeah, Druski is part white. So when people started calling him racist, he made it a point to put up a picture of him with his white grandfather. And not only is his grandfather white, he looks exactly like his granddaddy. He looks exactly like his granddaddy. Genetics be doing whatever they want to do, right? And it's funny because I had this conversation with my little sister a couple of weeks ago because I don't know how my little sister ended up having a baby that looks exactly like my auntie. It's like the ancestors just do what they feel like. It's really interesting. But yeah, he has a white grandparent. So it's interesting. And, I think that it's possible to be mixed race and racist, right? You guys have heard me talk about my experience in higher education. Some of the most racist people I have met have been people who have one, white grandparent, or people who have, talk about being 8% black. They're some of the most racist people on the planet. But I think it's really, really funny because not only is he drawing on this narrative of, oh, well, I can't be racist because I have this lineage. Even that's putting a mirror in the face of white people, right? Have you guys ever encountered white people who think that they can say whatever they want to about people of color because they date people of color? Have you guys ever encountered a white woman who thinks that she can talk about the black community because she has mixed children, right? Have you ever met or been in face to face with a white person who obviously looks white, but then they want to bring up, their black grandma or their black grandpa, right? They do all kinds of mixed looks from the ancestors. Ancestors be doing whatever they want to. Ancestors be doing whatever they want to, I swear to God. I have, the fact, and it's creepy how much my niece looks like my Auntie Iris. And it's like, for real, you just decided that you wasn't ready to be gone, so you just go pop up through your niece. Okay. And that's what makes his trolling so brilliant, right? And again, the revelation, the forcing people to see things about themselves that they don't want to confront, right? White people will bring out their black baby. Let's be real. White people will bring out their black baby or their black partner or their black grandmother or great grandmother as a Uno card or a trump card to justify their shitty actions. And that's what made what Druski did so brilliant. It's like, okay, well, you don't like what I did. You saying that I offended you with the white face. How can I offend you? Look at my white granddaddy. Look at my white granddaddy. We have the exact same shaped face, exact same nose, exact same cheekbones. What are you upset about? And at least he has some evidence, because a lot of people who run around talking about they black grandmama, they black great grandmama, they don't even have no evidence, because I would love to see a picture of their alleged black ancestry, right? But yeah, I think it's brilliant. I look forward to seeing more of what he offers us through comedy. I truly, truly do. Because I think that a part of what makes him so funny, is not just the accuracy, right? And I've been fucking with people and doing the Erica Kirk eyes all week. Because the way that he would say something and then do that deadpan stare into the camera was hilarious. It's not just the accuracy that holds their ridiculousness to the fire, right? It's the fact that people are he makes people tell on themselves in terms of what they're upset about, right? Saying it's not fair that he gets to do whiteface because it's not okay when a black person does, or if we do blackface, you're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself. Why do you want so badly to do blackface? Why do you guys want so badly to say the N-word? Right? You have to tell on yourself in order to even be upset in this way. And I think that that's one of the things you guys have heard me say before. I think that the truth comes out of anger. Truth comes out of anger. And I've had these experiences in my life where, people can perform all kinds of love and admiration and respect and all this bullshit for me. Let me disagree with them. Let me tell them no. Then every rude, nasty thing comes out of their mouth. And it's like, you know what? That's how you always felt. That's how you always felt. It's not who you are when people are doing what you want and they're going along to get along. It's when you're angry that the truth comes out. So all this stuff, all this reaction that the white people are having in regards to Druski, I think that they're going to continue to tell on themselves. Even down to the threats, right? That's a very white thing that Erica Kirk did. Every time you get offended, why is your response, I'm going to sue? Anytime you're uncomfortable, why does it turn into cease and desist, let's bring in lawyers, let's weaponize the court system? Even that is a symptom of whiteness. That entitlement to comfort. I used to have this argument with my students all the time. This is a huge part of the reason why I left higher education. White students come into higher education and they don't want to learn accurate information about history. They don't want to learn actual sociological information about how race and gender and how these things work, how classism works in our society, because it makes them uncomfortable. Their entire education experience, up until when they get to college, has always been rooted in their comfort. So then the first time that they have to learn something that makes them understand, oh, my ancestors aren't benevolent. Oh, I come from a lineage that rapes, pillages, steals, and exploits. This makes me uncomfortable. Do you know how many times when I was a graduate student, I had students threaten to go to the dean and complain about me? Do you know how many times they went to the dean and complained about me? Do you know how many times they literally looked in my face and told me that they pay tuition and that tuition pays my salary, so I have to tell them what they want to hear? I wish I was lying. I wish I was lying. And anybody who's gotten a graduate degree from Santa Barbara who says the students don't talk like that, may you burn in hell. But even that belief, right? If you're not making me comfortable, I get to sue you. If you're making me uncomfortable, I get to weaponize the law against you. That is a white way of moving. And so, again, the brilliance in Druski's comedy is that it forces exposure. It brings the truth to the surface. And even if you don't see the truth in his representation, through his skits and his performance and the makeup he decides to do, the reaction, right, that it draws out of people in terms of, thank you, Nero, their false superiority, the reaction that gets pulled out of people, that is the exposure of truth. They don't even recognize it. It's like, I say a lot of times that racism is epigenetic. I say it all the time. White anger and white rage, that Karen rage that comes out of white people when you tell them no, when you say things they don't want to hear, that is an epigenetic reaction. It comes out of them. It is epigenetics. It is the abuse and manipulation and superiority that they learned through the slave trade coming out through their epigenetics. I've said it 1,000 times and I stand 10 toes in it. But I think that Druski's comedy is absolutely brilliant. I love what he's doing. I cannot wait to see more of it. Holy Medic, I don't know who you are, Holy Medic, but thank you for having attended the last live, and thank you for attending this one. I hope that you enjoy this one as well. It's good to see you again. Let's all say it together. They don't want to say. And I think the thing that was brilliant about that Delroy skit, white people don't want to say it in rooms with other Black people. They want to say it in spaces. It's funny because I had a mentor that said this about somebody who, another person that they claim to love that they abuse all the time. Let me not go there. They said that the problem with this particular person is, some people want to fight and they don't care what the outcome is. But this particular person only wants to fight and win. And because they only want to fight and win, they will rig fights, right? That's how white people are with the N-word. So they want to say it in environments where they have the upper hand, where if a Black person gets offended by it, the Black person loses more than the white person who is saying it. That's what was fucked up about the BAFTAs, right? If Michael and Delroy would have walked off stage, then it would have turned into a conversation about how they're unprofessional and they still should have risen above and all this other bullshit. Another comedian that I love, and I know people have he has his faults. Donald Glover has his faults. But that's what was brilliant about that episode of Atlanta, right? When he was talking to his white friend from college who was working in radio. You notice how the white friend in college had no problem saying it to Ern when it was just him and Ern privately, right? Because there were no other witnesses there. Ern was significantly shorter than this man. If they would have had a fight, it would have reflected badly on Ern, all that, right? So Ern made it a point when he was around his cousin and his homeboy to get the white boy to tell the story again. And he looked him dead in the face and was waiting for the white boy to say nigger. And he never did because he knew he would have got his ass whooped, right? That is how whiteness works. They want to fight you. They want to hurt you, but only want to do it in a way where they can win the fight. Yeah, when Paperboy was around, he bitched up. He didn't say it, right? Absolutely, Nero. I miss Atlanta. Atlanta was such a good show. It really was. I feel like we could have got one more season, but, you got to try not to be greedy. But again, I love Druski's comedy. I love everything that we're receiving about, in terms of what his comedy exposes about race and cultural relations in the U.S. I would love to see him have his own show at some point. I think that he is really following in the tradition of Dave Chappelle, in the tradition of the Wayans brothers. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And again, I cannot wait to see more of what he gives us in the future. So, and we can talk a little bit more about Druski on and off, but I want to, again, because I don't want to be on here all night tonight. So let's transition into Brandy. How many people? So first of all, I just downloaded, because you guys know I'm an Audible girly. I love reading books in my hands. I love holding a book in my hand and reading it. But because of how busy my schedule is and how pulled around my life is, I have been leaning into audiobooks a lot more over the last year and a half. So I just downloaded Brandy's autobiography this month. How many people have heard about the conversation that's really going viral right now about her autobiography and what gets exposed in terms of her relationship with Wanye? How many people here are familiar with this? I am going to give a little bit of I'm going to give a little bit of an explanation, but I just want to see how many people are aware so that I know how much detail to provide. Go ahead and write in the chat and let me know if you are familiar about what she has shared about that relationship. KFS says yes. Okay, I'm gonna wait for other people. I'm gonna hydrate while you guys do it. Aisha said I'm not drinking right now. This is a blood orange sparkling water, which I think you guys know at this point, this is my favorite sparkling water. So KFS is familiar. Aisha's not. Aja's not. Nicole is not. Okay. But we knew they was together. Okay, me and Bertal's only a couple years younger than me, so we have a similar memory. Very similarly to Aaliyah. I remember there was a performance, and I don't know if it was BET, but there was a performance that she did with Wanye, and she had on this gorgeous like fuchsia dress. I was a Brandy stan as a little girl, because of the braids and just the beautiful full face. You couldn't tell me nothing about Brandy. But there was a performance of her in this beautiful fuchsia dress, and Wanye's in a suit, and they're performing, and it's really angsty, and it looks like they were going to prom. And I remember watching that performance and and my mama sitting on the couch, and she just got so disgusted. And she was like, he need his ass whipped. He need his ass whipped. And I was like, what, mama? She was like, he messing with that little girl. My mama was so angry, very similarly to Aaliyah. We knew, open secret. So, but here's the thing. I applaud Brandy for saying something. I do. I don't think that it takes a lot of bravery to admit something like that. In an industry where you are encouraged to shut up, and in a culture where people blame the younger girl, right? So for those of you who are not aware, when Brandy was 15 years old, Wanye Morris of Boyz II Men, who was 22 at the time, started grooming Brandy. Okay, he started grooming Brandy. He started romancing her. He started paying a lot of attention to her. He started really investing in her career. He basically coerced to a certain degree for her from the time that she was 15 to 16 for her to fall in love with him, right? By giving her special favors, by remixing her song, by telling her over and over again that she was beautiful, that she was really special. Then when she was 16 and he was 23, he starts fucking her. Brandy admits in her biography that she lost her virginity to him, that she felt a lot of obligation to keep their relationship secret, that she even hid the fact that they were dating from her parents. And basically it took a while, but her parents started to put two and two together. And then that's when they started asking questions. And she basically admitted to her mom. And her mom was like, you got to let that go. It's going to fuck up your career. But she didn't, again, because she's 16 years old, dating this 23-year-old man who's telling her that she's amazing and she's beautiful and everything. All the while cheating on her with other women, comparing her to other women, right? Because another thing that men who love age gap relationships where they are older and the woman is younger is that they will compare that younger woman to older women all the time. So she talks about how they were eating Thai food in his apartment and Faith came on the radio. I think she was singing "As Soon as I Get Home" or something. And then Brandy started humming along to it, and he was like, why can't you sing like that? Why can't your voice do that? To this 16-year-old girl who's new to the industry, already trying to figure out her identity, already trying to figure out who she is as an artist, comparing her to other older women. Wildest part of the story, and this is the only part that I did not know, was that apparently he was fucking Adina Howard at the same time he was fucking Brandy. So I want you to think about that. Do people know who Adina Howard is? Adina Howard's one of my favorite artists. Adina Howard is in her 50s, and she's still got knees like Megan Thee Stallion. She's still out here popping and dropping. And I love Adina Howard. Freak Like Me, T-shirt, no panties on. That Adina Howard. So Wanya Morris was fucking Adina Howard, who was a grown woman, and 16-year-old Brandy at the same time. And you know how Brandy found out that he was cheating on her with him? They were in the car, or she was in the car, and she drove past him rubbing on some other girl. And when she confronted him about it later in the day, he was like, yeah, well, I'm dating a lot of people. So I want you to think about that. 16 years old, somebody that you idolized and looked up to since you were 14, starts grooming you at 15, convinces you to let them take your virginity. And she even talks about the fact that he wasn't even gentle. It wasn't romantic. He just treated her like a conquest, right? And then you date them for 2 years after they take your virginity. And the whole 2 years they're cheating on you, not only with other women, but with the R&B singers that are older than you that he's comparing you to. Levels of abuse, right? And up until her autobiography, she didn't want to say anything. That's part of the reason why she talked about it in the autobiography. But you can go back, and there are Breakfast Club interviews. He's done live streams where he's talked about their relationship. The way that he let Angela Yee and Charlamagne talk about Brandy and talk about her literal vagina when she was a child, he should be ashamed of himself. Why am I bringing this story up? A, because I think that there's healing that comes when you are a survivor of any kind of sexual assault, but especially grooming from an older man. And I think that we now live in a cultural moment where it's safe for women to have these conversations. So I'm grateful that Brandy gets to have her healing and talking about it, right? Because a lot of us who were approached, who were courted, who were groomed by older men, we got blamed for it. We were fast, we were hoes, we were all these things, right? And that was the narrative in the way that people tried to talk about Brandy when they found out that, because here's the thing, it may be news for a lot of the younger people, it was an open secret in the 90s that they were together. And that was a scarlet letter that was put on Brandy. She got called fast a lot. Bertal, you brought up Kobe. Oh, did you know that? Okay, so here's the thing. Wanya has admitted that he set Kobe and Brandy up so that Brandy could take him to the prom because he wanted to get the media off of the scent of the fact that he and Brandy were dating. But what he didn't anticipate was that Kobe actually liked Brandy. So Kobe punched Kobe punched Wanya over Brandy at one point. Because when Kobe realized this grown-ass man is fucking this little girl that is his age that he actually liked, Kobe got upset and whooped Wanya's ass. Yeah. That was an arranged PR date and relationship because Wanya did not want people knowing that he was sleeping with a teenager. And then decades later, Wanya sits on the Breakfast Club, and when they're asking him, wasn't she underage? Wasn't she young? He says, well, she was old enough to get it. That's what that man says about being 23 and taking the virginity of a 16-year-old. She was old enough to get it. Wanya Moore has been a disgusting person. I still haven't forgotten about that shit he did to Kandi Burruss. When Kandi Burruss tried to negotiate the splits of the songwriting with him, and he treated her like shit and told her that she don't even have a right to fix her mouth to ask for proper payment. There have been stories about Wanya being an asshole forever. So here's the thing about Ray J. I think people forget that Ray J is the little brother. Ray J is the little brother. I don't think that Ray J was aware of that was going on. Ray J is like, what, 4 or 5 years younger than Brandy? So in what world is your 11-year-old brother responsible for protecting her? You know what I mean? Like, Ray J is annoying as hell. I think we look at Ray J through the lens of adulthood and his insanity a lot, but remembering that Ray J was the little brother, there was nothing that he could have done about that. I ain't listening to their music no more. Me either. And Boyz II Men got some slaps. It's gonna hurt, but I gotta let him go. And it's fucked up for Sean. It really is, but no, fuck that. I never liked him. Something was always off about him. Wanya is, here's the thing. I'm gonna try to figure out a really politically correct way to say this. Wanya looks like a predator. There is no politically, allegedly, everything is alleged. I don't know what I'm saying. There's allegedly alcohol in the sparkling water, so I don't know what I'm saying. Allegedly, fair use. But some men look like predators, and we got to be honest about that. I do face reading. Another thing about Wanya is I would not be surprised if there's like some inbreeding or some disability in his bloodline, because he looks, Lord forgive me. Y'all know what the nigga in the hood looks like who only dates little girls. Like he looks like it. He looks like it. In the face, he looks like somebody who couldn't get no pussy if he wasn't famous. I'll just say it that way. I'll leave it there, right? He was talking crazy to Mace a few weeks ago. Keep that energy. Yeah, but Brandy didn't like that shit. Ray J really, I don't think that the answer is having Ray J threaten to anally rape people and give them STDs. I really don't. I don't. That was a bit much. He shouldn't have said that to Mace. I'm sorry. Mace was out of line, but getting on the internet and threatening to anally rape men and give them STDs, it's a lot. Ray J should chill. The fact that I know who all the women are and not the men. That's hilarious. I forget how young you are. The fact that you don't know who Wanya is. Wanya is one of the lead singers of Boyz II Men, baby. Oh, my poor God, baby. She's so young. Okay. Mambo, Aisha, we've known each other for a few months. You should be used to me by now. You know how I am. And also, am I lying? Wanya look like, I'm going to go there. When y'all were in middle school or high school, y'all ever had a homegirl that you were close with and she had an older brother that was weird? He had a name like Grok or some shit. And then you would go over to her house and she'd be like, okay, if you want to get a soda, let me know. I'll go get it. If you want some chips, let me know. I'll go get it. Because they know that their older brother ain't shit. And the last thing they want is for you to be wandering that house and then their older brother try to hit on you or try to put hands on you or something. Wanya got that kind of energy. Wanya got that kind of look in the face, allegedly. So no, I'm not surprised by anything that's coming out about him. I'm absolutely not. I'm not surprised about anything that's coming out about these older men who use the music industry to prey on little girls. I wasn't surprised about what when Notori Naughton came out and said that one of the niggas from the St. Lunatics was trying to fuck her when she was 16. So much of that industry is built and predicated on men using the industry to prey on little girls. I strongly encourage you guys to watch the episode of Keke Palmer's talk show where she was interviewing Demi Lovato. There was a whole section where her and Demi Lovato were like literally bonding over the fact that when they were 15, they had 20-year-old and 30-year-old boyfriends. It's so normalized in the music industry. Kylie Jenner and Tyga. Tyga was 27, 28 years old, sleeping with that 17-year-old little girl. It's shameful. It is absolutely shameful. And I think the revelation is important. I think allowing someone from the 90s who we failed Brandy. We failed Brandy. And yeah, her parents failed her too. But I'm not going to just leave it on her parents. I'm going to say everybody. We failed Brandy. Every record executive that hit it. The fucking other group mates of Boys to Men who knew what Wanye was doing and never stepped in. Love Adina Howard down, but Adina Howard failed her. You a grown-ass woman. Why are you in competition with a 16-year-old girl over dick? I'm going to say it again. You are a grown-ass woman. Why are you in competition with a 16-year-old girl over dick? Because that's some other shit that happens way too often in our community that we need to be honest about. The reason why some women are way too comfortable with calling little girls fast, because instead of you standing in your responsibility as an elder and somebody who's responsible for the protection of that little girl, you see the little girl as competition. You see the little girl as threat. And you want to come after her and mar her reputation. Adina Howard failed Brandy. All those group members of Boys to Men failed Brandy. Her parents failed her. Her managers failed her. Her publicists failed her. So I'm proud of her for having this conversation now, that she's a grown woman and we're in a cultural moment where we can have these conversations and hold people accountable, because we need to. And I feel like not only is she doing it for her, she's doing it for Aaliyah. She's doing it for the women who couldn't do it for themselves. She's doing it for Britney Spears. She's doing it for all these women who went through that shit and for whatever their reasons are, can't speak up for themselves. Aaliyah, may she rest in perfect peace. We know why she can't speak up for herself, but that shit was way too common. So again, in the spirit of revelation, does it make people uncomfortable? I bet you Wanye at home cussing everybody out right now. I bet you he punching the wall. It's a hole in the wall of whatever fucking house he living in right now or whatever studio he recording in at this moment. He done screamed into many a pillows, and he fucking should, because he should be ashamed of himself. If you was really that nigga, if you was really popping, you wouldn't have to groom a little girl. So I'm grateful for the exposure. And I hope that they keep exposing the men who behaved that way in the 90s, because it's absolutely disgusting. They've spread the narrative that Brandy is a mean girl. Bless her and all of them. I'm going to be real. If I was 15 years old and the adults around me allowed a predator to groom me, take my virginity, and then cheat on me for 2 years straight, I can't say that I wouldn't be a mean girl either. Being a mean girl is a trauma response. I'm going to talk about that in a charm school lecture soon. Thank you, Aisha. You just gave me an idea. We need to talk about that. Because in a former spiritual environment that I was in, without saying too much, mean girl behavior was like really fetishized. It was thought of as cute, and it was low-key promoted. Mean girls are born out of trauma. Mean girls are people who have been hurt by women and who feel like the only way that they can maintain their power is by dominating and isolating other women. And we've associated a lot of power and a lot of access to that behavior But that shit is from trauma, the same way that narcissism is from trauma. Cassidy said if we knew what they all doing, we wouldn't have any music to listen to because they all foul. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Right. Defense mechanism. Yes, being a mean girl is a defense mechanism. Let's talk about another defense mechanism because I want us to get into the Noems. Let's talk about the Noems. Now, the fucked up thing is I don't even know Christy Noems' husband's name. I just know that I saw a picture of this man with the hugest breastplate of fake titties I've ever seen. I've only ever seen drag queens with them big, huge breastplate fake titties like that. But what's this nigga's name? Christy Noems' husband. Because we gonna talk about this shit. So you guys heard me talk about my relationship with Christianity earlier. I was raised by, what is going on with my phone? It's not my phone, it's my nails. Christy Noem husband. What is his name? They just keep calling him Christy Noem husband. Brian. I don't mean to, he spelled his name like Trade too. He spelled Brian, Bryon. He spelled it like Trade, allegedly. I'm AI. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about projection. Let's talk about trauma responses. So I grew up in the Baptist church. I attended both Catholic and evangelical schools. Okay. I'm going to tell you that I learned from my time at an evangelical school that the people who beat their chest the most about sexual impropriety, about who are the most anti-gay, who are the most sexually conservative in their performance, in their talking points, freaks and pedos. There was a teacher at my school, female teacher, who used to she would walk around with a literal ruler and hold that ruler to the skirts of the girls at the school, slut shaming the fuck out of us, right? In my senior year, I found out that she was fucking some of the boys in my class. Allegedly. I know nothing. I smoke a lot of weed, and I'm also a brain damage survivor, TBI survivor. So, I don't know what I'm saying. But allegedly, this same teacher that will walk around with a ruler measuring our skirts was also fucking the boys on the basketball team that her husband coached. So am I surprised that Brian, Bryon, Noem, whose wife is a bigot and who's made a career off of being a political bigot, has an attraction, is not only trans attracted, but also cross-dresses himself? Am I surprised? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And as much as I don't personally believe in outing people, I think that when you are a bigot and when you've made a career off of bigotry, when you've made a legacy off of subjugating and discriminating against the very people that you fuck in the dark, that whatever happens to you and whatever is revealed about you, it is what it is. And to the trans woman that outed him, I love you down, girl. Love you down. Celebrate. You did a good thing. You did a beautiful thing. Get cheese on your burger this week, baby. Cheese on your burger for the rest of your life. And a little bacon too if you're down with the swine. You deserve everything, girl. You did the Lord's work. Thank you for exposing him. I think that's the thing that is the most, it's not surprising. It's not even heartbreaking. And we're going to see more of this, both in politics and in entertainment, right? Most of the people who are the most bigoted are bigoted because they are projecting anger and resentment onto the very people that they desire. So, yes, I congratulations to her, but am I shocked? No. Every year, if not every year, every couple of years, some conservative bigot gets outed, either for sleeping with sex workers, sleeping with trans people, cross-dressing, or having attractions to minors. It keeps happening. This is old hat at this point. And anybody who's like, oh my God, Christy, nobody's thinking about her, nobody's thinking about her feelings. Has she ever thought about the feelings of the trans people that she talks shit about? Has she ever thought about the feelings of the underrepresented groups that she comes from, that she comes for? Does she think about the populations that she tries to subjugate through her work? Nobody give a fuck about her fucking feelings. She's still gonna be rich and white at the end of the day. I promise you, most masculine men or masculine presenting men who show a lot of anger towards trans people, towards gay people, they have something going on there. There's something going on there. Whether it's they themselves are attracted to it or they see themselves in that and they're angry because they see people living their truth in the light and they see that as exposure. And that's what's going on with Brian, Bryon. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep repeating it because he spells it like that's a name you'll find on a Grindr account. I didn't even know his name was Brian spelled that way. A lot of you guys know that I did my graduate research on LGBTQ rappers. And I feel like that's a name that would have been one of the rappers I interviewed back in the early 2000s. Bryon. The signs be there. The signs be there. And y'all, you fear in others what you fear the most in yourself. Yes. Yes. And again, I know I always bring things back to a tarot lesson. It's Five of Wands energy. It's the bully who bullies in order to distract people from them. Let me other you, let me dominate you, let me exploit you, because the more that I exploit you, the more people won't look at me. And I don't want to be exposed. So let me shame you for standing in the light so nobody else will pull me into the light. That's all it is. That's all it is. And here's the thing. If he were the manager of a Subway, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't care, but the stakes are lower. The stakes are higher because of who his wife is and the influence that they have. And that's even more of a reason why I'm okay with them being exposed. We should know what our politicians are doing on the weekends. We should know what they're doing in behind closed doors. We should know. It's a lot of shit happening in rooms that we don't have access to. So when people make these big decisions about our lives, about whether or not trans people can have health care, about whether or not we're going to actually have legislation that protects them, that holds people accountable for the violence that they enact against them. These are the kind of decisions that these people get to make. All while sleeping with trans people behind closed doors. If that's not an extra layer of violence in and of itself, so you're not going to protect their rights, you're not going to make sure that their humanity is acknowledged, but you can nut in them, apologies for being vulgar. You can get off with them, but you can't make sure that their lives are protected and honored. That is such a specific type of violence. You're a public servant. We definitely should know. Absolutely. Absolutely. So no, I don't feel bad for Christy Noem. No, I don't feel bad for Brian, Bryon. This is what they deserve. You don't get to make these kind of decisions about the lives of the very people that you sleep with behind closed doors. You don't get to subjugate them while literally fucking them. And apparently he stole money from this lady. That's another thing. Like, pay your sex workers. Pay your sex workers. They hold your secrets. They deal with all your weirdo shit that you afraid to go to your wife or your girlfriend or your whomever about. Pay the bitch. That's another reason why he deserved what he got. Pride cometh before the fall. But no, I hope that the revelation continues. I hope that the exposure continues. I hope that we see more of it, especially with these politicians. Not just the fact that it happened on Trans Day of Visibility was chef's kiss, but all of them who engage in stuff. Here's the thing: I'm pro fetish as long as it's sane, safe, and consensual. And children can't consent, so it has to happen with adults, right? I'm not shaming him for having a fetish or being into something. I'm disgusted with him and his wife because they have made the lives of other people who engage in that same behavior difficult and damn near unlivable. And that's what I'm pissed off about. So yes, I hope the revelation continues. I hope that more people who engage in that behavior get exposed. Because why do you think it's okay for you to have all this access and rights while denying it to other people? He should be ashamed of himself, and he should have paid that lady. Pay your sex workers and you wouldn't have any problems. So again, to drive this home to the bigger conversation about revelation and resurrection and renewal, I'm grateful to be living in this cultural moment where we get to have these conversations open and publicly. I really do, especially when I think about Brandy, especially when I think about the fact, and I was just having this conversation with my best friend Marisa a couple of days ago, like, being a curvy girl, I had hips literally since I was like 11. And then I got breasts shortly after. Thank God my breasts didn't get huge until I was in my 20s, but they were still pronounced when I was in my teens. I remember my uncle's friends used to wait until my uncle wasn't around and would like pull up on me in their cars and would like try to take me places and offer me money. Like it was bad. Being a teenage girl in the 90s, especially if you were curvy, especially if you were pretty, it was a lot. It was a lot. I made the decision to not date older men just because, again, I have 6 uncles. And my uncles would beat niggas' asses. And I probably would have gotten in trouble too, right? But a lot of my friends, I remember having friends that were 14, 15, 16-year-old with me and had 28-year-old boyfriends, 29-year-old boyfriends, 32-year-old boyfriends. Boyfriends that would bring them or bring us McDonald's to school, right? It was way too common. And instead of holding the men accountable, the girls were shamed. The girls were labeled. We had scarlet letters put on our backs. And I'm telling you, I didn't even engage. I didn't even date older men. But just because I was curvy, I was labeled. We were too comfortable with shaming the girls instead of shaming the men. But I think we are at a cultural shift where that's about to change. And I'm deeply grateful to be alive to witness it, right? But this is the thing about renewal. It's not just a personal process. It's a collective process. That's why I've been doing these astro chats. Because even when we look at the transits, right? Remember when I did Astro Chat and I talked about action with Mars and Aries? I wouldn't be surprised if another celebrity in the next week comes out with a big story about something that they went through in the past that we are now capable of looking at with a new lens, because Mars is about to be in Aries, right? Aries does not like to avoid the truth. It likes to run towards the truth. So I'm actually excited. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that more people get put on blast. And fuck Shine. I'm sorry. Because we talked about Mace and that goofy shit he said about Brandy, but fuck Shine too. How are you a grown man sitting here lying on your dick on a podcast? It turns out that he said that goofy shit and Brandy never even dated that man. Poor Brandy. She's still dealing with this bullshit and she's a grown woman. But now I see why she was so protective of her daughter. And she was right to be protective of her daughter. Having gone through those things herself in the industry, I can see why she wanted to hide her baby from it. But yeah, those are some things that I just wanted to talk about in terms of revelation. Let me go over my notes and make sure I didn't miss anything. We'll talk about Afro Man next week, Nicole, because I still want to talk about him. Should have talked about him. Yes, I've been called fast all through my youth for having a shape. And here's the thing. Black girls have shapes. We just do. Our bodies are different. They just are, you know. I remember my niece, she's 25 now, but when she was a little girl, she was like 4 or 5 years old. One of my friends from college came over and she thought she was wearing a pull-up. And I was like, no, she's not wearing a pull-up. She was like, well, what's that in her pants? I was like, it's her butt. It's her behind. Like, what the fuck? We just are shapely. And we tend to be shapely early. It's just our bodies. But we get shamed for it, right? And that's a huge part of the reason why the same stuff that we wear and we get called whores for when white girls or white passing girls, Asian, Latina girls wear it, people say it's cute. But we get called all kinds of, we get called fast and we know better and we being grown and all this. No, we're not being grown. We're being little children in our lives. And men should have the lack of dick discipline that most men have. Because why are you looking at little girls? That's a choice. It's a choice to park outside of high schools and wait for school to let out. It's a choice to prey on your younger sister's friends that you know are significantly younger than you. It's a choice to look for young girls who don't have fathers around and win them over with sneakers and McDonald's. Makes you a fucking predator. It makes you a fucking predator. There's no two ways about it. But again, let me look at my notes. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was going to be as triggered by this topic as I am, because I feel like I ended up talking about it more than anything. But yeah, basically, pay attention to what's going on over the next couple of months. I think we're going to see more celebrities being canceled and then trying to return into the public light. I was so tempted to talk about Chili and Amber Rose. I think I'm going to save that for next week when I talk about Afro Man. But we're going to see more hidden truths being revealed years later, right? So like in the instance of Brandy, these hidden truths coming up years later. And we're going to be forced to think about the difference between public narrative and intuitive truth, right? The same way that my mama sat on that couch and saw the way that Wanye was singing to Brandy and was like, something in the milk ain't clean. I think we got to be honest with ourselves about how many of us saw something wrong back then, right? I think that's what I wanted to talk about. It makes me uncomfortable when people are like, oh, it was the times. No, there were people around saying it was wrong then. but you called them bitter. You told them that they were reaching. You told them that they were overreacting. And I think that we're going to see a lot of that come to the surface years from now. A lot of the things that people get outraged about, that people say folks are overreacting or they're reaching, people are going to try to pretend like, oh, it was the Times 15. It was the Times has to stop being an excuse. It just does. It absolutely does. All right, so that is all I have to say about the pop culture topics. If there's anybody that would like a reading tonight, you can get the unveiling reading, which looks at, again, the theme of Easter, that talks about, what needs to be revealed in our own lives, what we may be avoiding that needs to be exposed, and what is on the other side of that exposure, right? So that's the unveiling reading. If you would like the unveiling reading, or if you would just like me to do a general reading for you, go ahead and put your question in the comments, and I'm happy to pull a few cards for you. While you are deciding whether or not you want a reading and sending in your offerings, I'll go ahead and just let you guys know about a few of the things that I'm working on currently. There is an Easter sale running on my website. So from now until the 7th at 11:59 p.m. EST, you can get 25% off of any order over $65 if you use the code BLOOM, BLOOM, at checkout. Again, the code is BLOOM, BLOOM. That sale lasts until April 7th. That is the Easter sale. So if you would like to purchase classes, to get a reading, purchase amulets, anything of that nature, purchase the Rich Spirit Body Wash, which I've been getting some really dope reviews about. People are getting new apartments. People are getting approved for loans to buy a house. People are getting promotions. People's partners are getting promotions, all from just using this Rich Spirit Body Wash. So again, there is a new round of Rich Spirit that's going to be happening May 4th through the 7th. But if you can't participate in Rich Spirit directly, and if you still want the benefits of Rich Spirit, buy the body wash. The body wash is enough, and it moves fast. Like literally, you just use it same way you would any other body wash while praying. People have seen results in days. People have seen movement. One of my clients told me that, and they weren't even working on their credit, but they just were using the body wash, and then 4 days later, when they were applying for an apartment, they learned through the process of applying for the apartment that their credit score had gone up 60 points. So if you want to raise your credit, if you want to get a promotion, if you want to get a new job, and you can't participate in Rich Spirit for whatever reason, try the body wash. It works. It'll help you, okay? And now's a great time to get it because the sale is going. Any order over $65 on my website, if you use the code BLOOM, BLOOM, you can get 25% off, okay? I am still doing interviews for Charm School. So if there's anybody who would like to join the May cohort, click the link below to learn more about Charm School, ask your questions, schedule an interview so that you can join the May cohort. If you know you would like mentorship, but you are not in a position to engage in an active weekly in-person mentorship such as Charm School, I have Study Hall. Study Hall is my self-paced independent study mentorship program. If you want to learn more about Study Hall, click the Charm School link anyway, because when you join the Charm School intake group, you will also get information about Study Hall as well. And then if you want classes but can't commit to mentorship, period, join my fucking Patreon. I need to stop cussing. Join my Patreon. I teach classes on my Patreon. The Patreon classes are good. They are not as extensive as my mentorship classes, but you will still learn a lot about the fundamentals of practical magic, spiritual herbalism, all of those things, okay? So those are all different ways that you can work with me. I will be doing in-person healing sessions this summer again. I'm going to be doing them in the Bay Area. I'm going to be doing them in San Diego, California. I will also be offering them in Atlanta, Georgia. And then I will also be offering them in DC, okay? And exact dates will be coming in the coming weeks. The Bay Area and San Diego sessions will most definitely be in July. The Atlanta and DC sessions will be in August. Exact dates will come in the coming weeks, okay? So those are all the main things I'm working on right now. Those are all ways that you can touch base with me, keep up with me. If you are not already in the Sacred Roots Facebook group, make sure you join, because when I do flash sales, you'll be the first to learn about them there. A lot of them are exclusive to the Facebook group, actually, right? You're not going to learn about my cheap readings or my flash sales by being on the email list. I don't even advertise them here on the YouTube. I only advertise them in the Facebook group. So make sure you join, okay? What else? Did I talk about Rich Spirit already? Next round of Rich Spirit, May 4th through the 7th. Deadline to sign up is May 2nd. All right. Aisha, no reading, just appreciation for tonight's happy hour. This was a really great and needed discussion. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm grateful that you were able to attend. Is there anyone else that would like a reading at this time? It can be the unveiling reading, or it can just be a reading for, or it can, what the fuck am I trying to say? It can be the unveiling reading, or it can be a general reading. Is there anyone else that would like a reading at this time? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up for the night and just thank you all for attending. Nicole, you would like the unveiling reading. Okay, great. And hopefully if you guys listen to Nicole's reading, it'll inspire you to get one. If not, that's totally fine. I'll make it available on Sunday as well. I want to remind you all that I do the weekly energy reading Sunday, 7:30 p.m. EST. So make sure that you're back here Sunday night. And I am going to, there's going to be a Tuesday this month where I do a charm school lecture. We're going to talk about Mean Girls. We're going to talk about Mean Girls because it's time. It's time. I'm so sick of Disney bitches thinking that it's cute to be a mean girl. Go heal. Go learn to love yourself. Take care of yourself. Learn to love yourself so that you can stop fucking with other women because you don't like your own reflection. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Ancestors, angels, ascended master spirits, and walk with me, motivated ancestors. Give us insight into what needs to be unveiled in Nicole's life at this time. What needs to be unveiled? What will that unveiling help her to confront? What is on the other side of that revelation? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. But yeah, the Charm School lecture series is going to be on the Tuesday. So just know that. And hopefully, once I get back into it, I'll keep it up and at least do it every other Tuesday. Because even before happy hour and before the weekly readings, Charm School lectures were the personal development lectures were actually how I got started with streaming. Remember when I used to be nervous? Do any of y'all miss that? I used to actually be really nervous to live stream. Now you can't get me to shut up. Okay. So in terms of, for you, Nicole, what is being revealed, right? What is the truth that God is allowing you to see right now? And what does that hidden truth reveal to you? We have the Four of Cups. I actually love that this is the energy that's coming up for you, right? Four of Cups, we know it is a card of distraction a lot of times, but it doesn't have to be, right? Four of Cups is a card, because the message of the Four of Cups is, instead of trying to find answers, be still. Be still. It's okay to be still, right? It's okay to be still and let spirit meet you where you are, right? You don't have to mine your past for any information. You don't have to be responsible for coming up with answers. Literally allow yourself to be still. And I'm not surprised that this card is coming up for you, Nicole, because when I think about our conversations that we've been having over the last few months, That's been a part of what your spirits want you to do. They want you to be still. They want you to trust that when it's time for you to move and it's time for you to take action, that they'll let you know, right? Why is this being exposed? Star card. I think star card is renewed hope and faith. It's belief that the future is going to be better and brighter than what you're used to, right? And here's the thing, you have a lovely life. We've talked about this before. You got a man that loves you. You got a great career. So you have a good life. But the better for you moving forward is one in which you don't have to do a whole bunch of stuff for everybody else, right? The language I will use, and I was taught this by my former life coach. Don't trust life coaches that don't have a life coach. You're in the phase of life where it's about being and not doing. You need to be focused on being a human being and not a human doing. So with the star card coming up being the card of renewed hope and faith, a lot of this is being revealed to you right now because your lesson is to learn to trust spirit enough to know that you don't have to be doing shit all the time for things to go right for you, right? Yes, soft life goals, absolutely. What gets resurrected? And I'm not going to cry. You're not going to do it. King of Wands, right? This is a confidence lesson for you. I'm always talking about how the reason why the King of Wands is so successful is because he's always enrolling people in his vision, right? He's always enrolling people in his vision because he believes he deserves it. He's the king of worthiness, right? And so in order for you to sit in this soft life energy where things are okay, where the spirits are taking care of you, where you have such deep trust, because here's the thing, overwork comes from a place of distrust, right? You don't trust that people are going to take care of you. Your belief is that people aren't going to look out for you, so you got to get it done before somebody else gets it done, because nobody else is going to get it done. Not true. The King of Wands is coming up for you because this is about you being so rooted in your worthiness that you trust that people want to see you win. Because that's the thing about the King of Wands. Yes, he's enrolling people in his vision, but he's successful at it because the people around him want to see him win. So this is about you getting to a place and being resurrected in an identity where you know for certain that you're meant to win and that the people around you want to see you win, right? I'll do it myself mantra. You got to let that mantra die. That's literally, again, 4 cups. That's the mantra you got to let go of. Stop searching the cups and looking for things to do. There is no doing, just be. And trust that in being, all of your needs to be met and then some, okay? I hope that resonated with you. Let's see. A couple other people said that they wanted the reading. So let me go back up. Oh, I didn't mean to hit the LOL. Let's see. Tiffany, you want a general reading? Okay, Tiffany, since you want a general reading, go ahead and, so you just want me to do a general pull for you, or you have a general question? I'm happy to do a general pull for you. Nero, you said you have TI. I don't know what that means, Nero. So if you have a question, let me know, because I don't know what TI means. But I'm just going to scroll back up and let's see. So Tiffany, I'll do a general reading for you. If there's anyone that would like either a general reading or the unveiling, go ahead and submit your love offering and I'll take care of you, okay? Ancestors, angels, and the master spirits will walk with me. What does Tiffany need to know at this time? What wisdom do her ancestors and spirits that walk closely with her want to pour into her in this moment? What information do they want her to have at this time? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Okay. Oh, you were saying Tiffany wanted a reading, no reading for you. Okay. Nira, I appreciate your love offerings. I truly do, but you're not running from me, are you? Because I don't think I've ever read for you. I hope you're not running from me. If there's anyone that would like a reading after Tiffany, go ahead and put it in the comments so that I know to slow down and take care of you after I'm done with her reading. And then if not, we will just gather together again on Sunday night, okay? All right. So in the position of what is being revealed for you, Tiffany, I gotta just go ahead and replace this damn mascara. I know it's so unprofessional to be picking at my eye every few minutes here, but I need a whole, that's what I'm gonna, oh my God, okay, that's what I'm gonna do for myself for my birthday. I'm sorry. Be prepared to be irritated with me because my birthday is in 3 weeks. As a Taurus, this is how I am. I start getting geeked for my birthday literally weeks before it actually arrives. So be prepared to be irritated with me. But that's definitely what I'm going to do. I'm going to take myself on a trip to get some new makeup products for my birthday because I deserve. So Tiffany, in the position of what is being revealed, the hidden truth, secret, or the energy that's coming to light for you in this particular moment, it's because God really wants you to see it. We have the Page of Swords. You really got to be more comfortable with speaking your truth, right? There is a part of you that is so afraid of either hurting other people or not getting the answer right that you will shrink yourself before you speak your truth. Right? And it's not worth it, right? That is literally the lesson of the Page of Swords, right? That's why I love that in Millennial Tarot it's the teletherapist, because this person is literally seeking a therapist to help them understand, like, how do I show up authentically? How do I speak my truth? How do I let go of my people-pleasing tendencies, right? And that's something that's being revealed to you right now in your life. How often do you say the thing that you feel is safest as opposed to saying the thing that is truest or most authentic? And what does that cost you at the end of the day, right? Because that's the thing about the Page of Swords. They're seeking external validation. They want to get the gold star. And you are a grown titty woman. There is no gold star that anybody's going to give you, right? So the external validation it doesn't even fully exist, at least not in the way that you're expecting it, right? Why is this being exposed? Because it's keeping you in environments that don't serve you. It's keeping you in a mindset that makes you think smaller, a poverty-based mindset that makes you stress over things that are either not important or gives you the false belief that you can't have more, right? 5 of Pentacles is being surrounded by people who keep our world small because their world is small. And that's why this lesson of the 7 of Swords is not 7 of Swords, the Page of Swords is coming up. Yeah, you may respect the people around you whose validation you're seeking, but if you can look beyond the dependency on the validation from them, you low-key don't even want the lives that they lived, right? That's the thing about the Page of Swords being an honor student. Like, you want the gold star from the teacher, but who the fuck wants to be an elementary school teacher, respectfully? I don't know if there are any elementary school teachers watching this. I know that education and teaching and all, lovely, all that shit, but y'all don't make no money and y'all are overworked, right? If you can be honest with yourself about the fact that this is keeping you small, it's keeping your worldview small, right? That is part of why this is being revealed at this time. That's a part of the reason why this is being exposed. What gets resurrected through this exposure and this unveiling and revelation? Your ability to make concrete choices. Your ability to choose unapologetically. your ability to have mastery over your direction and your path, as opposed to getting overwhelmed by the weight of your decisions because you have such a fear that choosing yourself or choosing something that is out of alignment with what people expect of you is going to disappoint them. So personal power gets resurrected. Certainty gets resurrected. The ability to make choices unapologetically and with clarity gets resurrected as a result of this unveiling. Let me know if that resonated with you or not. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it gave you some insight. I don't think there's anyone else that wants a reading. Bertal, now you got me listening to Broken Hearted. It's a great song, but it's hard. It's a good song, but I'm just going to listen to her version. I won't listen to the remix. That's what I'll do. Yeah, I'm not even going to get started on my R. Kelly rant. But yeah, it is a good song. Brandy's been making slaps forever. We've literally had, what, at this point, 30 years of just bomb-ass music from that woman? Legend. Icon. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. If you don't celebrate Easter, happy weekend. I hope your renewal comes in the form of rest and relaxation. I will, even though Sunday is a holiday, I will be here 7:30 on Sunday, as I always am. So I hope that I see you all here as well. And until then, I want you all to take care. Do good, be good, treat each other kindly. And I'll see y'all in a couple days. Bye.